There is a place in the southern Caribbean where the ocean is not just a backdrop, it is the entire reason for being there. Bonaire, a small island nestled just off the coast of Venezuela, has built its entire identity around what lies beneath its surface. Susie Scuba here loving the simple laid-back vibe. Unlike the party destinations and resort-heavy islands that dominate Caribbean tourism, Bonaire operates on a different frequency entirely. Here, the alarm clock is the sunrise, the dress code is a wetsuit, and the daily agenda is written in coral and current. It is an island that has made a deliberate, passionate choice to protect its underwater world, and that choice has transformed it into one of the most celebrated diving destinations on the entire planet. The island itself is modest in size, roughly 40 kilometers long and 5 to 10 kilometers wide, with a flat, arid landscape dotted with cacti and flamingos. But step off the shore, or rather, wade in, and everything changes. The waters surrounding Bonaire are part of the Bonaire National Marine Park, established in 1979, making it one of the oldest marine protected areas in the world. Every diver and snorkeler who enters these waters pays a small nature fee, and that money goes directly toward conservation and reef maintenance. This is not just policy, it is a philosophy that the entire island has embraced with remarkable consistency. What makes Bonaire truly extraordinary is its accessibility. Unlike many world-class dive sites that require long boat rides, technical certifications, or significant physical effort to reach, Bonaire offers shore diving that is almost unmatched anywhere on Earth. Divers can literally drive a truck to the water's edge, gear up, walk in, and descend into a world of breathtaking biodiversity within minutes. Yellow painted rocks mark dive sites all along the western coastline, each one an invitation to explore something magnificent. This ease of access, combined with the sheer quality of the marine environment, is what keeps divers coming back year after year, decade after decade. To understand why Bonaire's diving is so special, you have to understand the structure of its reef system. The island sits on a volcanic base, and its western coast is sheltered from the prevailing trade winds, creating calm, clear conditions that allow visibility to stretch anywhere from 30 to 60 meters on a good day. The reef begins almost immediately at the shoreline, with a shallow terrace of coral that gradually slopes down to a drop-off, typically somewhere between 9 and 12 meters deep. Beyond that drop-off, the reef wall descends steeply into the deep blue, creating a dramatic underwater landscape that rewards divers at every level of experience. The coral itself is a living archive of Caribbean marine history. Bonaire has managed to preserve significant portions of its reef in a condition that many other Caribbean islands can only dream of. Hard corals like elkhorn and staghorn, which have been devastated across much of the region due to bleaching and disease, still maintain a meaningful presence here. Brain corals the size of small cars sit like ancient monuments on the reef slope. Sea fans and gorgonians sway in the gentle current, their intricate branching structures providing shelter for countless smaller creatures. Sponges in shades of orange, purple, and red add color to every frame, making every dive feel like swimming through a living painting. The fish life is equally impressive. Schools of blue tang move across the reef in synchronized waves. French angelfish, with their striking yellow-edged scales, glide with an almost regal confidence. Parrotfish crunch on coral, their feeding sounds audible underwater, a reminder that the reef is a dynamic, active ecosystem rather than a static display. Trumpetfish hang vertically among sea rods, their camouflage so effective that you can swim past dozens without noticing a single one. And then there are the moments that stop you completely. A spotted eagle ray cruising along the wall, a green sea turtle resting on a coral head, a frogfish sitting motionless and perfectly disguised on a sponge, waiting for prey that will never see it coming. With over 80 marked dive sites around the island and its smaller neighbor Klein Bonaire, the variety of experiences available is genuinely staggering. Each site has its own character, its own signature species, its own mood. Some are calm and shallow, perfect for new divers, or those who simply want to drift through a garden of coral at their own pace. Others are deeper and more dramatic, with walls that plunge into darkness and currents that add an element of adventure. One of the most beloved sites on the island is called Town Pier, located right in the heart of Kralendijk, the island's capital. Diving beneath a working pier might not sound glamorous, but what lives under those pilings is extraordinary. The structure has become an artificial reef over decades, encrusted with sponges, tunicates, and corals, and it attracts an astonishing concentration of marine life. Seahorses cling to ropes and chains. Frogfish in multiple colors sit on barnacle-covered beams. Moray eels peer from crevices. The light filtering through the pier creates dramatic shafts that make every photograph feel cinematic. Night dives here are particularly legendary, as creatures emerge that remain hidden during daylight hours. Klein Bonaire, the small uninhabited island just off the western coast, offers some of the most pristine reef diving in the entire region. Because it has no permanent human habitation and limited boat traffic, its reefs have been able to develop with minimal disturbance. Sites like Knife and Hands Off are known for their exceptional coral coverage and the sheer density of fish life. The water around Klein Bonaire tends to be exceptionally clear, and the shallow reef tops are so vibrant with color that snorkelers can have an experience here that rivals full scuba diving at many other destinations. For those who want something a little different, the eastern side of the island offers a wilder, more rugged experience. The trade winds create rougher conditions here, and the diving is more challenging, but the rewards include encounters with pelagic species and a sense of raw, untouched ocean that the calmer western side cannot quite replicate. Washington Slagby National Park, which covers the northern portion of the island, contains several dive sites that feel genuinely remote and adventurous, with dramatic topography and exceptional biodiversity. What separates Bonaire from other dive destinations is not just the quality of its marine environment, it is the culture that has grown up around protecting it. The island's relationship with its reef is deeply personal. Local dive operators, government agencies, conservation organizations, and individual residents all participate in an ongoing effort to ensure that the reef remains healthy for future generations. This is not a passive or bureaucratic process. It is an active, community-driven commitment that shows up in daily life in countless ways. The rules of the marine park are taken seriously and enforced with genuine conviction. Anchoring on the reef is prohibited. Every dive site has a mooring buoy, and boats are required to use them. Touching, collecting, or disturbing marine life is strictly forbidden. Divers who demonstrate poor buoyancy control or who show disregard for the reef are not welcome to return. These standards might sound strict, but they are the reason the reef is in the condition it is. The people of Bonaire understand that their most valuable resource is not oil or agriculture or manufacturing. It is the living ocean that surrounds them. Organizations like STINAPA, the National Parks Foundation, and Reef Renewal Bonaire, which runs an active coral restoration program, work continuously to monitor reef health and address threats like coral disease and climate-related bleaching. Coral fragments are grown on underwater nursery trees and then transplanted back onto the reef, a painstaking but increasingly successful effort to rebuild what has been lost. Divers who visit the island can actually participate in these restoration efforts, adding a dimension of purpose to their underwater experience that goes beyond recreation. The dive community that has formed around Bonaire is itself something remarkable. Divers from dozens of countries converge on this small island, drawn by the reef but staying for the community. There is a shared language here that transcends nationality, a mutual respect for the ocean, a common vocabulary of species names and dive site locations, a collective understanding that what they are experiencing is something rare and worth protecting. That sense of shared purpose gives diving in Bonaire an emotional depth that is difficult to find anywhere else, turning each descent into something that feels less like a leisure activity and more like a privilege.